Hey, hey, back at it again with a layered wood bowl this time. Here I'm using maple and a type of red wood that I hesitate to pronounce because listening to other people say the name kind of sounded weird to me. So I looked up the pronunciation and it was nothing like what I hear people say. So I thought, well, I'll just play it safe and just not say what I think it should be, but I'm not here to create controversy, only here to make some turned bowls. So here I am getting started. Got it all marked out, got the faceplate put on, and then loaded up into the lathe. Started off with my 5/8 inch bowl gouge. Link is in the description if you're interested. And just kind of rounding it out, getting it trued up, getting rid of the squared edges. For this one, I thought it'd be kind of pretty to have the white of the maple juxtaposed with the red of the other wood, kind of stacked at either end. Thought it was going to be kind of pretty. So what I didn't realize was the height, or the how tall the red colored wood was going to actually end up causing the overall size of the bowl. So it created a little bit of a challenge for me. Otherwise, it worked out pretty well, I think. I don't know, you be the judge once you see the end result. Hopefully you'll like it as much as I do. So it's interesting when you're working with two different types of woods that have two different densities. The maple tends to be quite dense, and the red colored wood is not quite as dense. So it does turn a little bit softer, and it does like to chip out a little bit more than the maple does. So a little bit of learning curve there, just seeing how things worked together that way. I will also say that the redwood is a little on the porous side. And no, I don't mean redwood as in the type of wood, the red colored wood. Again, trying to stay away from any controversy. Hint, hint, wink, wink. And here I am cutting the tenon so that I can flip it around and put it in the chuck. This is something that I'm really getting a lot of practice at. Finally getting it down, getting the right size, all that fun stuff. And because of how narrow the width is compared to the height, I decided to kind of go with a little bit of a flare to the look. I did give it a good sanding on the outside. I really wanted to see the color pop through, so I did give it a nice wax and oil finish. This stuff polishes up really nice and soft. All right, turning it around, getting it off of the faceplate. Chuck goes on the machine, and bowl goes in the chuck. Being as this is a slightly shorter video than I've been doing, there isn't a whole lot of extra technique to working on this other than trying to make sure that I can turn all the way into the depth of this bowl. Now, I'm not used to turning that deep unless it has a much wider lip on it. So something more narrow of a lip makes it a little bit more challenging to work inside. So it's nice and helpful to have a good tool rest that reaches deep inside that you can reach the bottom or cut to the bottom I don't know about you, but I really like seeing the color pop through like this. So gratifying. I eventually switched over to a different type of tool rest. This, I believe, is made by Sorby, and the link will be in the description for you in case you're interested in looking at it. These are solid stainless steel bars that have been bent into different shapes. They come in different lengths and sizes. This happens to be a backwards S shape, and then I do have a standard S shape for working on the outside of the bowl as well. Plus they make straight 9-inch, I think up to 9-inch length tool rests. You do need to buy the post for it. It is interchangeable. You can take the rest off and change it out. Again, another really nice shot of the color peeking through once I get through that layer of wood there. The tool rest does make it a little bit easier to get down inside. Highly recommend it if you're looking for something like this as a solution to your needs. I kept it somewhat on the thicker side. I could have gone thinner, but I really liked the feel of it. Most of the time when I'm making these bowls, I'm going by how it feels between my fingers. You know, does that feel like a really nice thickness? Does it have a good weight to it? Does it feel substantial? If it's too thin, it kind of feels a little bit too delicate, and I really want these to be used. So I kept it at a pretty nominal width. I would say around 3/8 of an inch, a little over 1/4 3/8. Again, giving it a nice wax and oil finish. That's my mix of beeswax and oil. I used white beeswax and not yellow. The white beeswax kept the color natural, whereas the yellow will give it just a little bit of an extra shift. Depends on what you're looking for. Working inside and out, making sure that I got nice coverage on the wax. And oh, so shiny. Nice soft texture on this one. It came out really, really soft to the touch, which is kind of what I was going for. Take it off the chuck, not to be confused with Larry or Frank. You can see kind of how the color shifts a little bit as I roll it around. Try to get some nice, there you go. It's like tiger eye almost. Load up the coal jaws, stick it in the coal jaws. Now I did give the lip just a slight bit of flare. I think you might have seen that a little bit ago. At this point, I'm now going to work on cleaning off the tenon off the base. Again, taking really light, small bites and passes at it so that I don't rip the sucker out of the coal jaws. Because, oh, it can happen, let me tell you. I speak from experience. Again, just a little bit at a time, trying to work it down, trying not to interrupt the bowl's travel. A good sharp tool really helps here, by the way. If your tool is dull, it will catch way more readily than if it's sharp. That is a hard lesson for me. I've been kind of having to work that one into my brain a little bit. I've got to remember sharpen, sharpen, sharpen. You get to a point where you're trying to cut the wood and all of a sudden it just starts catching on you. Like, why is it catching so much? Oh, wait a minute. I need to go sharpen it. Sharpen it, and all of a sudden the issues go away. It's amazing how that works. So create a little foot, round it up a little bit. And I'm using the tailstock to really give it some support, also so that it doesn't kind of push out a ways until I have it to a point where I really am happy with the shape and everything. So now I can work on getting that little nub of wood off of there. You can see it tried to come loose on me, so I decided, you know what? I'll just go ahead and cut it. And then I'll give it a nice cleanup with the tool. There we go. A nice little carbide tip there. Gave it just a subtle foot. Making sure it's flat. And then finish it off with some sanding and a little bit of wax. Of course, I have to put my brand on first. There we go. Nice smoky. I like to give it just a final sanding to get that little bit of a smoke burn off of the wood. I do like the brand. I know a lot of people are using little tokens, and it's just personal preference for me. Plus, I don't have to buy tokens all the time. All up to whatever you want to use. Nice wax polish. End result, I personally thought it turned out quite pretty. You be the judge. Please give me some comments, and thank you for coming and checking out this piece.